The afternoon sun painted the Santa Monica Pier in shades of amber and gold. Sarah Mitchell, 23 years old, with sun-kissed blonde hair cascading past her shoulders, rolled her wheelchair along the weathered boardwalk. The Ferris wheel turned slowly behind her, its colorful gondolas catching the light like jewels against the California sky. She had come here seeking peace, the ocean breeze, the laughter of families, the smell of salt and funnel cakes. These simple pleasures still brought her joy. Even after the accident 2 years ago had changed everything, Sarah paused near the railing, watching seagulls dance above the waves. That's when she heard them. 3 teenage boys, maybe 16 or 17, their voices sharp with cruelty. Look at her. Just sitting there, taking up space, one sneered. Probably faking it for attention, another laughed. Sarah's hands tightened on her wheels. She'd heard it before. The ignorance, the casual cruelty of those who'd never known struggle. The tallest boy stepped closer. Hey, why don't you move? Normal people want to take pictures here. Sarah's voice was steady, though her heart raced. I have every right to be here. Move, cripple. The boy's foot lashed out, striking the side of her wheelchair. Sarah gasped, gripping the armrests as her chair rocked. Tears stung her eyes, not from pain but from the helplessness. Humiliation in front of dozens of onlookers who simply turned away. Then she heard it. A sound like distant thunder, was growing closer. The rumble of motorcycle engines filled the air. First 1 bike appeared, then 3, then 10. Chrome gleamed in the sunlight as dozens of motorcycles rolled onto the pier, their riders dressed in leather and denim. The leader, a man in his late 40s named Frank Davis, with weathered features and kind eyes, stopped his bike directly between Sarah and her tormentors. He removed his sunglasses slowly, deliberately. Behind him, his riding brothers formed a protective semicircle. Some wore cuts with patches. Others stood with arms crossed, their presence alone, speaking volumes. Is there a problem here? Frank's voice was calm, but carried the weight of someone who'd seen too much ugliness in the world to tolerate more. The teenage boys suddenly looked very small. The tallest one stammered, We didn't what? Another rider, Marcus Stone, stepped forward. His arms were covered in tattoos, but his expression was one of profound disappointment. You didn't think kicking a young woman's wheelchair was wrong? Crowds had stopped to watch. Phones were recording. But the bikers paid no attention to anything except Sarah and the boys who'd heard her. Frank knelt beside Sarah's wheelchair, his voice gentle. Are you all right, miss? Sarah nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. These your friends? Frank asked, nodding toward the boys. No, sir, Sarah whispered. Frank stood, turning to face the teenagers. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to apologize. Really apologize. And then you're going to think very carefully about the kind of men you want to become. The boys shuffled their feet. The crowd waited. Finally, the tallest boy spoke, his voice cracking. I'm sorry. That was wrong. Really wrong. His friends echoed the apology, heads bowed, but Frank wasn't finished. Sorry isn't enough. Words are easy. Actions matter. He gestured to his riding brothers, and they parted. Walk away. Grow up. Be better. The boys left quickly, their swagger replaced by shame. Then something remarkable happened. The circle of bikers, these men whose society often judged by their appearance, surrounded Sarah with kindness. They didn't crowd her or make a spectacle. They simply stood there, a wall of leather and chrome and humanity, letting her know she wasn't alone. An older rider named Thomas, his beard gray and eyes soft, spoke quietly. My daughter uses a chair. Car accident, 5 years back. I know what you face every day. The stares. The ignorance. Sarah felt tears flowing freely now, but they were different tears. You handled that with more grace than most people could manage, Frank said. That takes real strength. For the next hour, the bikers didn't leave. They escorted Sarah along the pier, their presence ensuring nobody else would dare disrespect her. Children waved at the motorcycles. Other visitors smiled and nodded. Sarah found herself laughing, truly laughing. As Marcus told silly jokes and another rider named David shared stories about his own journey. Learning acceptance when his brother came home from war forever changed as the sun began to set. Painting the sky in purples and pinks, Frank knelt beside Sarah one more time. "The world can be cruel," he said softly, "but it can also be beautiful. Don't let the cruel ones make you forget that." Sarah reached out and squeezed his hand. "Thank you. All of you." Frank smiled, a warmth in his expression that spoke of a man who'd learned hard lessons about judging people by appearances. "We're just passing through, same as everyone. Might as well leave things a little better than we found them." The bikers mounted their motorcycles, engines rumbling to life like contented thunder. One by one, they rolled away, waving to Sarah as they departed. Frank was last to leave, giving her a final nod before accelerating down the pier. Sarah sat there as twilight deepened, the Ferris wheel now glowing with lights, the ocean whispering against the pylons below. She thought about kindness, about strength, about how sometimes angels wear leather and ride motorcycles. She thought about how the worst moment of her day had transformed into something that restored her faith in humanity. And as she rolled toward home, Sarah made a promise to herself. She would remember this. When she faced future challenges, when ignorance and cruelty tried to break her spirit, she would remember the circle of chrome and compassion that had surrounded her when she needed it most. Because sometimes, she realized, warriors don't carry swords. Sometimes they carry kindness. And that's the most powerful weapon of all. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below about a time when a stranger's kindness made a difference in your life. Your story might inspire someone else who needs hope today.